Alright, it seems like we are live. Hopefully everything is going okay. Before I actually start, I just wanna wait a little bit, maybe wait if you can tell me on the chat if the audio and the video is fine. I'm also checking on my phone, but it's like a 30-second delay before I actually see anything. But yeah, hi! I'm really happy that you are here, guys. I think it's been a while since I did the last live stream. It's been probably somewhere like a month, so I kind of miss it. And I see Victor, I see Carlos, I see Bandil. I hope I'm pronouncing that okay. And Nicholas. Hi, Nicholas. Oh, it seems like the video is all crap. She said maybe if I switch the screen in OBS. Yeah, I don't know why that happens. Like if I just put the video, it looks alright. No, it looks terrible. But when I put the sculpt, like the iPad screen, and then I put my little video, then it's fine. But that's just silly. And we have Wave from Brazil. Nice. Which part of Brazil? Like overall, where are you guys from? Oh, Carlos, I know. You're from the Netherlands. That's so cool. How are things over there? Is it warm now? Is it always warm also in Brazil? Because I'm from Mexico, but we always see Brazil like it's always forever summer place. But maybe it can get cold in some areas. I mean, it's quite a big country. Do you guys see the video alright? Because I'm looking at it in my phone and it's still all like all over the place, like very glitchy, not very nice. Ooh, Bandil is from South Africa. See? Well, while I wait for this like 30-second gap to hear if the video is alright, I'm gonna start showing you the project that I have. Oh, Nicolas is our friends. Bonjour. Je parle un petit peu de français, mais je n'avais pratiqué for a long time. So it's like 12 degrees in the Netherlands, so that sounds alright. It's not crazy cold, but it's not warm either. Alright, so the project that I have here, this is the sculpt from my head sculpting course that you probably have seen some post about. This is my silly face. I just sculpted myself because it's easy, because I have all the reference that I can get. It's just, I can take a bunch of photos and I don't have to deal with lens distortion as if I was sculpting like an actor and I have to worry about getting I don't know, some weird expression or non-reliable lens distortion. So if you want to practice this, it's good to have your own face because you can control your reference. You can get all the weird angles that you wouldn't get usually. So the mesh, what does it look like? It was made with dynamic topology, so it's all over the place. There's all the polygons and stuff. The hair is separate. By the way, I'm gonna make a hair video. It's coming out at the end of this week that's starting. So we have hair that is divided in two bits, the top bit and the ponytail. And then I have the eyelashes. I'm just gonna turn off the wireframe. The bottom eyelash, I might have to turn on the outline so you can appreciate better so it's highlighted. Bottom lash, top lash. I actually had another version of top lash. I was experimenting with the new tube tool to see if it was working alright, if it did work. So I just took a quick look at the comments to see. And the eyeballs, which are the same eyeballs that I worked on the last video that I released. And I can see that... Oh, ce soir en la France. It's night in France, and I was saying good day. Alright, well, if there is anything weird going on with the video, please let me know right away. Because we've had in the past a couple problems and it took us ages to realize that was going on. But yeah. Alright, so to start preparing this model, I'm gonna select the main mesh, the bust, the main sculpt, and I want to have more uniform topology because I'm gonna do some painting. And for this, I'm gonna use actually one of the new tools that just came out on one of the recent releases, like 2 days ago or something like that, which is the Voxel Remesh with rebuild multi-resolution. So what this does is that it's gonna, well, Remesh is gonna make a new arrangement of polygons, but if I switch this around, it's gonna give me levels of multi-resolution. So it's not only gonna give me the main retopology with all the details, so I can go levels down with less resolution, so it's easy to make modifications. I think it's just fine to have one level, and usually when I open Voxel Remesh without changing anything, it's giving me a recommended resolution that's mostly gonna keep all the details. There's always some kind of loss, that's inevitable, but this should do alright. So I'm gonna remesh. I might have to wait a little bit. Hopefully it's not gonna crash. Sometimes it crashes, and it's also been a new update, so it looks fine. And as you can see here in multi-resolution, I can switch up and down. I just want to check around that I didn't lose my shapes, because sometimes places like the creases of the eyelids or the ear, I can see some weird things going on here on the ear. That it might still be buggy because it's just brand new. And I might have to smooth out some surfaces because I see all these weird uneven places where I used to have tries. So I'm gonna try again to see if this does any better. I'm just gonna put this in 800. And hopefully it's not gonna die. And I see a wave. Oh, wave is also from Brazil. That's cool. Well, I'm glad that you find the videos useful, even if English is not your first language. It's not my first language either. I'm originally from Mexico. So, I'm glad that I can help, even though it's not. I'm not the most fluent in this language. You know, it's really interesting speaking to people from Brazil and Portugal, because Spanish and Portuguese is so similar that we can speak in our own language and we still understand each other. It's somewhat uncanny. It's like, I know that I'm listening in another language, but I still understand it. Anyway, coming back to this, I still see some weirdness going on in the ear, but yeah, the ear is just such an intricate area that I always struggle. So I'm just gonna try to smooth these bits. They're actually isolated, so I might have to do some trimming there to get rid of that. I'm just using smooth, and let me see if I can try to isolate this with a mask. Here on the bottom, I'm gonna tap solo. No, that's a lie. I'm gonna tap on the mask, and if you can see that it kind of like cuts through it, hides everything. But first I need to invert that mask, and then now I can hide it. And now I can see those little bits of geometry that are floating. So I'm gonna use trim and select them to to kill them. Unfortunately, this is gonna get rid of multi-resolution. That's what happens when you use tools like trim that essentially change the topology. So that's a bit of a shame. I no longer... Oh no, actually it says that it's still there. Did I undo? Maybe. Well, I think I can survive with those stuff there. Oh, thank you, Carlos. I'm glad that you don't find my English confusing. I guess that I had a bit of practice being in New Zealand for a year now. So Carlos, you were born in Colombia. The first time that I saw your name, I was like, I wonder where he's from. But I wasn't sure. I thought about saying something in Spanish. But then I was like, I guess there might be Carlos who don't speak Spanish. So what part of Colombia are you from? And how do you get to the Netherlands? Alright. So everything is mostly smooth. I'm not gonna stop a lot fixing the details in the model. Like there's things that I would like to enhance, like these creases, simply using the crystal because they look weird after the remesh. As I said, like it's just a thing that's gonna happen when you voxel remesh, when you do essentially any kind of remesh. There's always gonna be some kind of loss, sorry, which is unfortunate, but that's just the nature of the tool. Just want to fix this because it's bothering me that it used to be like nice looking and now it's a bit weird. But anyway, you came here for some painting. So how do I approach painting? I like to use layers. Layers are very useful because you can have things separated, you can have things with a bit more control. I actually have some layers here with some separate details. Like when I'm approaching the end of the sculpt, I like to do this because it's like almost there, but I don't want to mess it up. So in case I actually mess it up, I can simply delete the layer. Here what I would like to do is actually get rid of this, so maybe I'm just gonna merge them all so those changes are baked in. I have another version where I've kept these changes, so it's not a big loss. I always make copies of my projects. But now I'm gonna make a new ledger and let's call it color base. There we go. And I'm gonna start with my paint tool. Actually, I need to change matte caps because now I'm in a gray matte cap. And matte caps with colors have a problem because they mix in with the colors. Like if you can see here that I'm choosing a very light pink, but the matte cap shows me something different. The matte cap mixes the color that I'm choosing with its base color. So this is a no-go. This is gonna give me a weird result. It's multiplying colors. So what I'm gonna use is one of these matte caps. These are part of our matte cap collection, and I made specifically 5, which are for vertex paint. And as you can see, there's a tiny bit of color, which is mostly light and shadow. I have like cool colors, I have warm colors, I have specularity, like with those reflections. So I think I'm gonna use this warm color, this tiny bit of a pink light. And now the colors that I actually paint are gonna be more alike. I'm gonna keep this painting menu open. If you tap here on the corner of the menu, there is that pin, so that lets you keep it open. I'm gonna paint intensity. It's not the same here, this paint intensity, that this side. They have a different result. This is giving me transparency, whereas this is the amount of paint applied. This is what I want at the moment. So the thing about color is that I want to keep them somewhat transparent when I mix them, so they can naturally work together. If I just put a bunch of colors with their full intensity, they don't mix, they look very independent, they are like doing their own thing. But if I want them to be in harmony, regardless of the hue, of the saturation of what they are, by having transparency, I let them mix naturally, work together, and yeah, like just the way light works. Light is not a very strong color and that's it. Like when it bounces, it loses intensity. So if I have a little bit of orange light and it hits a blue object, the blue object inherits a little bit of those orange qualities. So this is like the logic behind using colors with transparency. Just a quick look at the comments. Oh wow, that's quite a story, Carlos. Wow, it's wow. I don't even have words for that. That's really impressive. I'm glad that you have a great home in the Netherlands. I want to say that it's a bit sad about the Spanish, but I mean you have identity all over the place, and like even if you don't speak much Spanish, like you are just where you are from. So that's really cool that you shared that with us. Like I really appreciate it. I see that we have Marisi, I hope I'm saying that alright, Marisi Flores, also in Amsterdam. Wow, nice. Mr. Subsound, you're not late, is never, the YouTube time is always on time. Alright, well, going back to the painting, I'm gonna choose a alpha. Actually, I can show you better here, with like dots with like a bit of a spray. This alphas actually I took from Procreate. This is gonna let me have like, I guess, this spray nature of the paint. And I guess that a mistake that often we make with painting skin is that we just choose a tone and then we apply it and that's it. But skin has a lot of color variation. Skin changes drastically from place to place depending if it's a fleshy area, when there is more muscle present and more blood vessels, you're gonna see like a reddish tone to the skin regardless of the average. So that's actually what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start painting this areas known as the color zones of the face, thinking of what is underneath. So this is typically the red one. The lips usually have some coloring. You can see on top of me my reference that I'm using. It's just, again, my silly face. Now, on the top, on the forehead, we have more like yellowy. It's not like a massive yellow. I mean, it's just the average color, whatever your skin color is. It inherits a little bit of yellow qualities. And this is because this is a subcutaneous area, and by subcutaneous I mean that the bone is right away, like you can feel it. There's not much in between the skin and the bone. If you compare it to the cheeks, which is like fluffy, which is like fat pad and muscle and more blood vessels, it's very different from here. So here's like the skin is stretched, and you can appreciate this a lot in your hand actually. When you bend your knuckles, the knuckles get I'm just putting on the camera a bit better, they get yellowy, they get even lighter, and when I relax there's more blood flowing there. So that's the same thing that happens here. Skin is stretched, so it looks a bit more yellowy, a bit lighter. And this area is a more neutral color. By neutral, I mean closer to gray, closer to white, gray, or black. So we have a saturated color, and then we're moving towards neutral. And in women, this is not as evident. It's mostly evident when you have facial hair, because you have the roots of the beard, of the facial hair, that adds even more neutralness. So I'm just gonna add for myself, because I don't have a beard. As much as I would like to have a beard, I don't have one. Just a very average gray color. If it's males with very visible like a 5 o'clock shadow, I think they call it, when the beard is just starting to grow, it can even start looking blue. If you've seen the Link model that I posted around, he has that bluish. And there's more to this color tones, like this is the very basic, like the 3 sounds, but there's more variation. Sorry, I just hit the microphone. Specular changes based on thickness. I'm not sure I understand your question. What do you mean by the specular changes? Do you mean the madcap, maybe? Well, while I wait for your answer, I'm just gonna develop a bit more this color zones. Actually, I want to use smudge. I'm using the same alpha to have this like specks all over the place, to have this color mixing naturally. And I wanna think about more about these areas of bone that I can feel. Like again, like if you can poke your face and feel the bone right away, it means subcutaneous, and subcutaneous means more stretch. And an area is, for example, the bridge of the nose. Before it starts turning into cartilage, it's a bit of a bone that's also stretched, so that's gonna be more yellowy. Then we have another sort of neutral area, which are the eye bags, the underneath of the eyes here, and these actually go even a bit darker. So that's another thing that I wanna play with, the value of the colors, because there's 3 elements of colors. I know this is not quite a color class, but the thing is that color is made of its hue, that it's this, which is the name that we give to the color. It can be red, it can be purple, it can be blue, and I like to say that's like the flavor of the color. The flavor, let's say the flavor is red, but the flavor can be really intense, or it can be a very subtle flavor, and this intensity of the color, it's called saturation. And color has one last thing, which is actually the most important, which is value, which is how light or how dark the color is. Like even if I'm looking at this very strong red, it has like a mid value, it's like somewhere around here. If I put yellow, it's no longer here, it's actually way brighter. So I want to contrast all those things. I'm gonna contrast the hues, like right now I have the red against the yellow, against the neutralness bluish, but I also want to play a little bit with the values, in this case making this area a bit darker. Of course it depends on age, it depends on even the type of skull that you have, how dark this is gonna look. Some people have more visible eye bags, depends on the type of skull, how deep the eye is in the skull, but yeah. The hue of the lips is also gonna be different. Usually darker skins tend to be even more brown, warm brown. In my case, I guess that the photo does look a bit brown, not as pink. So I'm gonna try to start getting that. And it's a little bit more towards the yellow. It's still like reddish, but there. So transparency. And I guess that it's gonna help me to have the eye and the hair and the eyelashes a bit with colors, so I'm just gonna try to give some color to it with force paint tool. That looks very light. Why is it so light? That's weird. Okay, I can't figure out why that is. Is it different matte cap? Paint intensity. Okay, it's because I'm in a layer, and the layer is, I lowered the intensity of that layer, so it's also lowering the intensity of the paint. So I'm just gonna switch to the base, and then it should be no problem. And while I do that, let me just take a quick look at the comments. How do I grab the brushes from Procreate? I guess it was a bit of cheating, because I just from Procreate, where you create the brushes and you can see the shape, I just took a screenshot, but that's probably not the best way to do it. And I see Mr. Substone. It's the way I see it, hard to translate. Translucency is based on the thickness of the skin and the muscle underneath. Change how it looks. Okay, yeah, this is something called, I believe it might be referring to subsurface scattering, which is a property of semi-transparent things, like translucent things. Oh god, this looks kind of really uncanny at the moment. Sorry, I'm gonna fix that. So a very good example of this are the ears. Sorry, my voice is giving up. Alright, the ears. Because the ears, they are thin layer of skin, so light can easily go through it. Even if you put a light through your hand, you can see that it starts to get like really red, like very saturated, because the skin is thin and the light is traveling. It's getting some of the red properties from the inside, because we're already inside and stuff. And it, well, yeah, like it's really bright. So Nomad itself, it doesn't have any subsurface renderers, so we're gonna sort of fake it, and the best way to fake it is on thin areas like the ears, like the wings of the nose, even the lips. We're gonna exaggerate a bit the warm colors. I hope this answered your question, and if you have any more, feel free to follow up here on the chat. And I see more people in. I see Trevor. Thank you, Trevor. I'm glad that you're here. Early gamer. Early gamer. Do you like play games just in the morning? I'm glad you're here. You can call me Érika. No need to formalities as professor and all that. Am I still using one layer for those colors? Yes, I'm still on just the base. I'm just in the color zones. I'm gonna make more to start mixing together. And HC Max I83, welcome. Thank you for your nice comment. Alright, so I'm gonna continue this weird porcelain looking thing. Yeah, there's the thing about sculpting and just, I guess, overall creating is that there's always like an alien looking stage. Some yeah, you have to deal with uncanny models with just disturbing looking stuff. But you gotta know your goals, you gotta know to keep your focus on the right place and not let this discourage you, like know where you're going. I'm gonna use a smooth, and for the paint I gotta make sure that it's all the way down, the intensity. Otherwise it's gonna mess with the sculpt. It's gonna start changing the volumes that I have, and this is just gonna help me do a quick blend. And I can also use erase if I need to lower the intensity so it doesn't completely kill my paint. It also works here, the paint intensity, so it's a subtle erase. Just because maybe those reds are too intense, I might change my mind. Oh, early gamer, it's midnight for you. Oh gosh, thank you for being here so late. I tried to change the time a little bit for the stream to be more friendly with other areas, but it's impossible to cover everywhere. Yeah, it's also difficult here. I'm here in New Zealand. So I'm already in a time zone that's weird for most people. Okay, so let's actually paint now the skin. This was just the base. And let's see what I can do. Hopefully I'm not gonna mess up. It's when I'm recording the videos I can make all the mistakes that I want, but when I'm doing live streams you actually see how much I mess around and experiment and how many mistakes I actually make. But yeah, so now I'm going for a super average. You can see again my reference is just up there. That's I'm trying to choose like the most average skin color that I can get. Trying to get the value, not too dark, not too bright. Like I'm brown, so I'm somewhere in between. I don't want to go too saturated. I actually gonna go quite neutral. The skin is very neutral colors. And my paint intensity also lowered. Let's see if this alphas work. And it's gonna naturally mix with the bottom because I have this transparency. So let's see. Just placing it all over the place with this like dotty. I should actually start painting also the neck. And with the neck is a very similar logic. There's areas that are flesh and there's areas that are bone. So bone areas you paint more the base with yellow, and if there's more flesh you paint, sorry I bumped the mic again, you paint more with reddish colors. And just a bit of smudge, just being a bit slow. I want to make sure that actually I'm saving. No, I have autosave deactivated, that's a mistake, don't do that. Actually I'm gonna save here so I don't lose this little bit of progress, even though it hasn't been much. Comments. Praveen, I hope I'm saying that alright. Oh, thank you, Praveen. I hope it turns out okay, because I don't know, it's different when I'm doing things in a live stream. Am I a professor in New Zealand? Yes. Yeah, I'm actually gonna, it's a bit weird. Hopefully I'm gonna be teaching here in New Zealand in a university soon. Still in the works, still nothing confirmed, but I am actually currently teaching for Mexico. I teach for a school named Escena. It's in the university in Mexico City, and I teach online, which is one of the cool things about online things going on. It doesn't matter where you're from. I just started a character design course. It's all in Spanish because like the school is in Mexico. Yeah. I have most of my students are Mexicans, but I also have students from Bolivia. I had a student from Colombia. So it's really cool that I get to see people from all sorts of places. Alright, I'm glad that you guys appreciate the mistakes. I guess that, yeah, mistakes are, you can learn from them. Alright, so I'm gonna start doing a bit of color picking in the face. I'm just doing a long hold and literally just pressing the iPad and leaving my finger, and a sphere pops up, and if I drag it around it's choosing the color where the dot is. So this is gonna be useful for color variation. So I'm gonna pick like this base, and I'm gonna look at my reference and be like, oh well, that area, it might need to be a bit more orangey, more towards this. And then I'm gonna start applying the paint. More towards the end, I'm gonna do more the subsurface scattering question that Subsound was telling me about. Here towards the bottom of the chin, it might go a bit more neutral. There we go. This paint is not necessarily gonna be super realistic. There's some limitations from the software. Like realistic skin needs more material qualities, which we cannot do in Nomad, and that has to do with subsurface scattering, for instance. That's like one of the main things. It gives like a natural shininess to the skin that it's difficult to just paint, to just kind of trick, but we'll try to do our best. And let's see, the nose is actually a bit warmer, so let's choose more warmness and more orangey. At least what I can see on the reference is that my skin under that light looks orange. Well, I guess that I'm in the same place where I took that photo, so you can see both, like here and here, that oranginess. It's try not to focus too much on the atmosphere, I guess, because it's gonna change if you're under cool light, under warm light, under sunlight, or under artificial light, because you might light your model differently. So I guess that what I'm saying is try to go slightly neutral, not crazy colored, like, oh, I'm gonna paint red because I see a lot of red. Like, if you know that's from the light source, it might not be necessary to exaggerate it so much. Okay, so the tip of the nose is actually reddish, might be a bit exaggerated there. You might have seen like on manga or like comics that when people are drunk, they put their noses red. This is actually a thing that happens. You can see it a lot on alcoholic people because there's like blood vessels that break. I don't know exactly the relationship with alcohol, but that's like something that happens when you drink a lot. So it's kind of like an icon of when you're drinking, to exaggerate that redness. The cheeks, just exaggerate this. That's too much. Yeah. Like, I have this idea in my head, but then I look at my references like, maybe that was too much. Well, I'm glad I pronounced your name correctly. Praveen. I hope I don't forget. Like, I feel like I'm just gonna mess up. I'm gonna get confident that I'm saying it right, and then I'm just gonna blah. Oh, blimey. Oh, did it... Oh, I'm reading that for Carlos, the autosave, it ruined your work. I wonder why. That sort of things, I would say that you take them to the forum. Sometimes I think that it's a bug, but then I realized that I was doing things wrong. But yeah, if you're encountering some kind of technical weirdness going on with the software, you don't have to suffer with it for too long. You just take it to the forum, and as you probably have experienced, Nomad is updated quite regularly. So if it's a bug and it's something that can be reproduced, Steph, the developer, will take care of it right away, or he will tell you what maybe it's something that you missed, which has happened to me. I think there's a mistake, I think there's a bug, and I'm actually being silly, not realizing that I forgot something. Alright, I want to do some value variations, some dark and light variations, because right now it's all very similar. Of course, the eyelashes and the hair look weird, like they really pop. I'm missing things like the eyebrows, and even just the lips. They are darker value, at least on my skin, than the rest. I think I'm painting myself too light color, so I might have to also fix that of my skin. But anyway, what I want to do is exaggerate the areas first that are deeper. Think of the areas maybe like here where tear ducts are, those are deeper, those are a bit protected, those are always going to look a bit darker. Of course, the nostrils, the inside of the ears. So let's actually make a new layer. Just for protection, I'm just going to call it deep. And at any point I can mix the layers, I can merge them. Again, I like to use this as a safe proof. If I mess up, I can always easily erase it. So here is one of the areas that I want to exaggerate. I'm gonna make it feel deeper, especially because I don't have an actual hole in my model. Like, it just stops. It's not like a real earring, which it just goes deep and light can't get in. Whereas here, it's actually possible for light to get in. I can see some weirdness there in the topology. I ideally would have to fix that, but oh well. I can see Mr. Subsound that's actually explaining what I tried to say about the blood vessels bursting in the nose, why it's used as an icon of when people are drunk. So thank you for bringing light to my half-ass explanations. That's really awesome, guys. Like, anything that you want to share to make this richer, to make this conversation more complete, I truly appreciate. So I'm going in the stream of consciousness here, so I'm trying to always narrate something to keep this a bit more interesting, but I haven't necessarily made all my research, which I probably should if I'm talking publicly. Yeah, so going deep on the nostrils. Might have to add some value there. Looks like kind of dull that it's so gray. And as I mentioned before, these walls are really thin, so this is gonna create that red effect. Even if it's dark, we're gonna see that warm color coming in because the light that's going through. Ah, man, it just crashed. No, I don't want an update. Ah, remind me later. I think this is what you were talking about, Carlos. Ah, okay, I didn't lose much. That was silly. Man, I was scared for a second. Yeah, maybe Carlos is right. I should save manually. Okay, so as I was saying, light goes through that thin layer of the skin, and it tints with the muscle, with the blood vessels inside. So when that happens, it's just very bright, saturated colors. And I lost my preferences here. Okay, that's too much. Just want a tiny bit of this. Alright, yeah, that looks better. And just bring that down. And now for the lips, I'm actually gonna use a tiny mirror that I have here to see myself a bit more reference. Also recommended, if you can use this. I'm gonna go for a little bit of purpley tone, desaturated purple, and apply it on the lips. Just some makeup. That's an actual makeup. It's actually a tone that I see. Probably the camera doesn't pick it up very well. Cameras are limited and the colors. Our eyes are always gonna see more colors than the cameras. And this is not ideal. I'm like painting outside of the lips area. So I'll have to clean this. Right now I just want to smudge a little. I'm gonna fix that shortly. And I want to get more the darks of the inside, this area that receives more light. I'm not painting light and shadow itself, I just want to exaggerate deep areas, create a bit of contrast maybe. Just little checking the comments. That happens to me all the time. Oh, the crashing. Yeah, might be a good thing to report. I don't know if it was the update, the iOS update that caused the crash. Might have been just Nomad and that was a coincidence. But that was a bit annoying. At least I didn't lose stuff. I'm glad that I actually realized that autosave wasn't on, otherwise I would have lost everything. Okay, so that kind of starts to look alright. It still look pretty funny. That's like the thing when you're working with a bit realistic, like a lot of uncanniness going on. I'm not being vain. I sure do. I'm looking at self in the mirror just to see more color and keep painting, in case you just arrive here and you're looking at me being silly. I think I'm missing a lot of jellos. My skin is way more jello. I'm just gonna go back to that layer. Jello and probably darker. So let's try this. So let me change this. Alpha. Let's go for no alpha and still paint intensity low. And I want to just overall see this. It's a lot of experimenting, and again, this is not gonna be crazy realistic. When we have, well, for going for a lot of realism, we're gonna need a lot more tools. And Nomad is great, but it's got its limitations. And I don't want to promise something that I cannot deliver, at least with the paint. So just this tone overall, because I think that I'm missing it. This more orangey, jello, getting a better idea of the skin color. Yeah, that starts actually to look more like me. I was looking too white. I don't want to make myself white. I'm not white. And underside of the jaw, a bit more intense. Is there a limit to the number of layers? I actually don't know, Nicholas. There might be like a point in which the software starts suffering, but I haven't experienced issues with that. Usually you might get some like pop-ups if the software is being outperformed, like when you try to remesh and you're trying to go really high, it usually gives you a warning. So I wanna say that it might be similar for when you're with layers. It might give you a warning if you're going way too high, but I can't assure that. I honestly have not experienced it. Okay, again I'm going with it a bit darker areas. I'm still having in mind these color zones, like I'm still trying to think of the areas that are a bit more neutral, like the eye bags, the laughing line, this like chunky muscle around, that's also gonna be a bit warmer. It's very reddish muscle. So I'm gonna go a bit more saturated there and paint that. And this, since I already have a base, I want to go really subtle. I don't want to go with crazy changes. And with my smudge, I actually lost the alpha that I had. This tricky like dot thingy is gonna help me mix the colors more naturally. Try to get nice gradients. If you need more help with gradients, you can use smooth with no intensity. Don't overdo this, because then everything's gonna look too soft. Sometimes you're gonna have dramatic color changes, maybe like around the lips, which I haven't painted yet, by the way. I actually see there's a bit of areas slightly green on my skin. It might be a little bit of veins showing, so I'm gonna do an extra layer in case I mess up. And let's go for some aquaish colors. Try to get this variation, this natural variation, and let's paint again like just some dots. So I don't want to have like this block of paint, that looks weird. Again, what I want to do is mix colors naturally. So I'm gonna put this a little bit around the eyes, around the neutral areas. It's good to have these accents of colors, because this is gonna make other stuff pop up more. It's like when you put salt on a dish, like you could be baking cookies, but you put a little bit of salt, which sounds counterintuitive, but that salt kind of like forces more, it makes more evident the sweetness. And yeah, like with salt, you gotta be conservative. If you add too much salt to a dish, you're gonna mess it up. So the same with this sort of color accents, it's just a tiny bit. Okay, just do you use my iPad charging? Yeah, this app actually takes a lot of battery. I do have my iPad charging right now. It's charging on the computer because it's plugged into OBS. But yeah, that's just the thing with this. Procreate also takes a bunch of energy, unfortunately. And I'm gonna do some yellow highlights as well. I also see that sort of brightness on my skin. The problem right now is that I'm wearing yellow, so it's also like I see some of that reflection. Maybe that was silly to do today, but I like this dress. Happens with Forger as well. That's sad. Yeah, I guess that's just the apps. That's what they do. You know, I don't love this area. I think this is way too red. So I'm gonna try to bring it back. Ooh, autosave. Please don't kill things. This is... okay, no. Oof. I thought that it was maybe gonna crash or something. I'm gonna go here in layers and lower the base. This is gonna make things more transparent, or all the way down to 0. I still need it, but again, I think this red area is too exaggerated, especially like so close to the eye. So I'm gonna try to get rid of that exaggeration. It's not ideal looking. Probably needs to be slightly more neutral, because it gets more neutral towards the eye bags. It's more a cheekbone area where it gets more reddish, and yeah, it also gets darker because I have eye bags, because I'm getting old. That's just life. Maybe around here I actually can start putting that redness. Yeah, as I said, I can't promise that this is gonna result or very nicely. Oh, I wasn't painting, I was just smudging painting. That's silly. And let's do this again. I can't guarantee this is gonna be nice looking at the end, but at least I can share you my process. That's the difference with live streams and actually edited videos. I can try things over and over again, and if I fail, it's just like, oh, I guess I'll just do it again. Whereas live streams, you see all the mistakes, all the places where I could be dragging mistakes. I could be like, yeah, this is right, but I'm actually super wrong. But hopefully I notice and there's something you can learn about it. Oh, I see Michael is now awake. Yeah, in case you're not familiar, Michael is my husband. We both make videos for a small robot. He does the render stuff, and he was asleep. Probably didn't have a great night's sleep, and just stay in bed. I started this like 8 a.m. for New Zealand. And now he's just talking what's going on from the other room. So he might be coming to the office pretty soon. And he might be able to give me some feedback actually. He's really good at feedback. He can identify whenever I'm doing things weird. Okay, let's go for more neutralness. Still looking a lot like porcelain doll, which is uncanny. I don't want uncanny. Nope, that's not quite the right color. That looks a bit better. Oh my god, Uncle Jesse! Thank you! I really appreciate that, that's brilliant! Oh, seriously! That's amazing! I can't thank you enough! And I really appreciate your support. I coming from such a cool guy like you, and I don't know, we still feel little, we still feel like we're just testing the water. Oh god, I don't have the words. Man, this is too cool. You guys are just amazing. Like, I really cannot thank you enough for all your kindness, for all your support, and with the course that I just released, it's been brilliant. Like I just keep hearing positive feedback. It hasn't even been released yet. It's just been on pre-sale, and you guys send me all sort of lovely messages, and it just really makes my day. Sometimes making videos can be a bit lonely because you're on your own. You're trying to think what people might like. But then when you actually release them, or when you have interaction with people, it's so much different. I guess that sometimes it can be a bit sad when you're creating on your own, but when you receive this lovely feedback, when you receive this lovely support, it gives you the strength to be like, yeah, like this is worth it, I want to keep trying. Oh man, Uncle Jesse, you are such a legend. Seriously. I might be looking into a lot of your videos because we are thinking about getting a 3D printer soon. My husband used to have one, but he was living in Australia and now we're in New Zealand, so he couldn't switch countries with it. But now we might have the chance to get it, and well, you are the guy for that. Wow, this is amazing. I'm so happy. I don't know if Michael saw this. Ah, man. Yeah, just non-stop. Seriously, thank you. Such lovely support. Oh man, I just can't. This is too much goodness. Too much goodness in life. I feel really grateful. I feel really blessed. And I hope that that I can keep some of that back. Oh, I feel like this paint is not looking great. Man, I'm sorry. let's just take a step back and try to think how can we make this better. So I have this layers, which maybe I can turn off and on to see what is working, what is not. Maybe this deepness. I might go a bit more conservative with this color. The skin. What happens if I lower it down? I might just lower it to kind of like a 90%. And the color base. It's getting there. I still don't love it, but how about I focus for a while on something else? I want to try to get a fresh mind, because I've been looking at the same stuff over and over again, so maybe that's not helping me. So I'm gonna try to work on the brows, because it looks weird that my eyebrows are shaved. Alright, so let me pick a dark color and let's see if this works. Sub sound. Oh, thank you. That's such a nice comment, sub sound. I am not super familiar with procedural. Michael is, as you probably all know. He works Houdini. Well, I don't know if only Houdini is procedural. Like, yeah, like I feel like so ignorant on procedural stuff, but now that I've learned more about it with him, it's like, oh, that makes sense. So what other things do you guys do? Like, we're here for sculpting and I guess painting, but I don't know what other 3D disciplines do you work with? Or even if it's not 3D, maybe. I know that there's people who watch the videos that are illustrators as well. Michael is more like a render VizDev, not VizDev, look dev guy. I think I'm switching too much from the camera, so I might have to adjust my place where my chair is. Oh, I made that tea and I forgot about it. It's probably all cold now. That's a bit sad. Okay, I am building up the color of the brows little by little, because I don't want to go really dark suddenly. That might look a bit weird. I know that there's people who have like this super defined brows, but brows change in density. Like there's hair that it's way more, it's probably better to show here. There's less hair on the tips and then it starts to get more dense. So that's sort of what I want to try to create. Let me try to use one of these matte caps that, no, not matte caps, alphas that are here to try to get maybe a little bit of that. And here probably the topology would help me to go a bit deeper. Autosave, don't kill things. I'm gonna be terrified of autosave every time. Ooh, no crashing. Yeah, so I'm starting to get some pixelated things. I probably need to go more detail in my topology. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. I'm not gonna do it until it's super necessary. More density in this area. Michael always tells me that when I have nothing to say, I just go beepity. That smoothing was way too strong. Hopefully this will help. Yes. So remember, for smoothing, have the intensity all the way down so you don't mess up with the volumes, but you can control how much you're smoothing the paint with the paint intensity here inside the painting menu. Yeah, cool. What about making a 3D skin texture matte cap in Procreate? We do have one. There's like one limitations with matte caps in Nomad. So far, when you use matte caps with texture, like with painted stuff, they get deformed. It doesn't look very nice. I don't know if I have one. I might be able to show you one, but sorry about all this random stuff here on my photos. You might recognize some photos from the videos, all the reference that I have. I don't think I have any with texture. But yeah, when there's like actual texture, it like distorts it. So it's not ideal. We have, we made madcaps with subsurface scattering, like this one. This is part of the ones that we have on Gumroad. So it's also kind of tricking the subsurface scattering, which is kind of helpful, but not quite the best for painting. So this one you can see that the base is pink. So it doesn't suck the result. It actually kind of helps maybe. But I don't love it because you cannot see much. Because you can see the paint distorted. Like this one that's more like the color of my skin. Now all the paint looks way darker. So yeah, like this thing you can see more these effects of the skin. But again, this is tricked. This is not very accurate. Let's actually switch to a white madcap to see with no shadows, the color with no distortions whatsoever. And this helps me to see colors without any light source, without like colors for what just they are. I'm thinking I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. But yeah, it helps me to see if I need more contrast. For example, the lips probably need to go darker. So I'm gonna pick this color, and again we were somewhere like this, a bit warmer. Still trying to be conservative. Oops, I have an alpha. Oh, Michael just got in the room. I know, you probably can hear him on the microphone. Yay! Did you see this?
From Uncle Jason.
Yeah! Oh my god.
The first one.
Yeah, actually, you're the first one to give us a donation in a live stream, so it's kind of a landmark.
That looks a little bit less uncanny with the eyebrows.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, I'm always terrified of the uncanny stages that people are gonna look at this and they're gonna be like, oh, you suck. It's part of the process, and maybe I do suck a little bit.
I'm used to hearing people say that about my work, so that's fine.
Well, I don't think you suck. I should look at the comments. Subsound, you've learned 3D during the pandemic. Oh wow, you're an accountant. So now you have like a super useful skill that everyone needs, the accountantness, and now you're also 3D artist. That's really cool. XYC XYABCS. I use Nomad to sculpt up my to build up my intuition. I feel like it makes my drawing and cartoons better, just like gesture drawings, anatomy studies. Yeah, I agree. I actually started using Nomad because I was doing illustration. I was more like in the illustration, not so much CG. I did study in university CG, but I preferred illustration, I guess. And then I saw Nomad was a thing, and I was like, ah, yeah, that could help. And then I got caught up with 3D sculpting. But yeah, it's a brilliant tool for that. Yeah, you don't have to be like a professional sculptor. It just informs so much, and I actually tell that to my students for my character design classes. Like, it's just better to understand the volumes by creating them. Sometimes I create clay stuff. I have this little bee named Pablito that I made for a digital painting class. Yeah, so they had the reference. I actually did a painting as well of Pablito. Yeah, it's so much better. And if you don't have access to clay, maybe you'll do uh, very well in Nomad, and you don't even need to do super detailed things. I think this actually helps much more to see the actual colors. I see that Carlos says, I'm using Affinity Photo for my photos, editing videos with LumaFusion. LumaFusion. I haven't used LumaFusion. I might try it. I use Premiere, but I'm honestly trying to use Adobe less and less. It's just too expensive to pay for the subscriptions, and there's brilliant software that can do the same job. Blender, yeah, I'm still learning Blender. I learned Maya, and Blender is something. It's great, but I also get frustrated with it very often. Is it better on iPad or Android? I've only used it on the iPad. I have an Android phone, so I prefer to have the big screen of the iPad. I think it's very similar. I don't think there's much difference. I guess that maybe the difference could be the pens, but Wacom is always reliable if you have access to that. And I also see, do I have character design classes in English? I have a couple videos on the Small Robot channel. They're not as popular as the Nomad ones. No one wants to see my character design stuff.
I do.
Oh well, Michael does. Yeah, I have a couple videos. There's a playlist. Would you be there and Michael plays the link to the playlist of character design?
I will do just that.
Thank you. See, this is a very lovely husband.
He's awake.
Now that he's awake.
Where are all our playlists?
I don't know. Where they are.
It's showing all the private ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I do have some stuff there. The course that I was telling you about that I'm teaching for Mexico, that's like through university. They have like short courses that you can take. But I'm actually thinking about all that content, making it like a course that you can buy as well. But I guess that it's not a priority at the moment because, like as I said, like character design is not as popular, and I don't want to put a lot of work in the things that maybe not a lot of people will be interested in. I'd rather put the work on Nomad things because I know that you guys like it. Like, yeah, like there's a lot more reaction to this. So I'm gonna try to make the bottom of Moses slightly darker. I don't want to get caught up in making this. I don't want to paint light and shadow here, which could be a trap. It's a trap.
So are you painting an albedo map, a diffuse map, essentially?
What do you mean?
Is that before, did you have a multiplier on or something, or were you using a matte cap?
Oh, I was using a matte cap. I'm using a white matte cap at the moment.
Yeah, so that's probably better for once it comes to render, because if you do use a matte cap that's coloured as a multiplier,
yeah,
at render you would have to add a solid colour in and layer it in and multiply it as well.
I see.
The same colour, preferably obviously, because it's we have the same visual impact.
Yeah.
But if you have subsurface scattering, you will also need to paint a separate map for that. But that's not as big a deal.
Well, yeah. Nomad cannot do all that stuff.
No. I mean, once you take it out of Nomad.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys are interested of what steps would come next after Nomad with other software, let us know, because Michael knows how to do all that stuff. I know very basic. Shading, would it be called shading?
What's that?
Would it be called shading?
Would what be called shading? Sorry.
What you were talking about?
Yeah, lighting shading.
Yeah, light and shading. Yeah. So, yeah, it's actually starting to look a bit more human, I suppose. Still want to get some variations. Yeah, the matcap, even though it's a matcap made for painting, it's always gonna sort of distort the colors. Yeah, actually now with the matcap it looks way better. Probably the nose is still very red. I swear, my nose is not that red. Maybe if I'm crying, that's when it gets red.
Or cold.
Or cold, yeah, if I'm cold. Yeah, I guess now it's gonna be red all the time. Once we move.
Yeah. Have you seen it? That removal?
Yeah, we're gonna move sometime soon, within the next month, to the city of Christchurch in New Zealand, in the South Island. That's very exciting. Michael is really looking forward to do some snowboarding. I've never done snowboarding. I'm from Mexico, so there's very few places with snow, and I don't even know if there's any snowboarding anywhere. Yeah, I don't think there's at all. Like, there's snow in the mountains, but yeah, no snowboards. So Michael is so excited about the snowboards that he's even playing video games of snowboards because he can't wait.
That's true.
The eyelashes look so weird with the color. I'm not a big fan of how they look.
Did you put them on a separate layer?
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fine. Just put them in there so they don't look. So your face doesn't look so uncanny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna go darker and reddish for, well, more like pinkish, I guess. Try to get more the inside of the eyes, like the fleshy bits of the eye. I actually need more saturation. And at the same time, take a look at the comments. I don't want to get too distracted, and sorry guys, and not look at this. So I can see Marisi, I think people get frustrated with the interface of Blender. I personally get frustrated with not being able to find tools. And then when I look online, like, where is the tool to, I don't know, twist a normal face? And all I see online is people telling me shortcuts that don't work on my computer. And sometimes the tool is like right in front of me, like it's just in my nose. But everyone is telling me shortcuts, and it's like, I don't want a shortcut, just show me where the tool is and then I'll figure out if I want to use the shortcut. So that's something that I personally find very annoying.
That's exactly what I just said in chat.
Oh yeah.
We both had the same issue with it.
Yeah, gosh. Mr. Subsound, took him 6 months of rage to learn Blender basics. Yeah, I guess that it's good that I already know Maya, so it's not such a crazy leap to understand the 3D tools. Like, at least the logic behind it, I get it, and most of it is just finding where the same thing is on Blender. But I mean, I do actually appreciate, I think it's brilliant that such a tool is free. Like, that's crazy if you compare it to the price of Autodesk. Okay, that color on the eye makes it look a bit less uncanny. I can probably go darker. This is an area that doesn't have that much light because it's very deep. So I want to emphasize that. And Carlos says that he used Adobe Premiere, Adobe, I think. But since LumaFusion on your iPad, I'm too lazy to walk to a computer. Oh, so you use it on your iPad. Is it also a computer software? Or is it just an iPad one? That's very interesting. I found it's crazy how the iPad is able to do so many things now. Let's emphasize a little bit the lips, the darkness of the lips. Maybe jump back to the matte cap, to the white one, to see how these colors are looking, how this contrast. Maybe if I need some areas that are brighter, maybe if I need areas that are darker. I should probably keep working on those eyebrows that I just forgot about. Let's see. Yeah, I might have to work more on those lips that are still very not very well defined. Just looking at the reference, looking at the mirror to see my silly face. Yeah, actually around the side of the wings on the here, like this area, it's reddish. I have a lot of blood vessels there, so that it's an area and opportunity that could give some realism. It also gets a bit darker, so let's try that. I might actually use one of these alphas. I should do a video on alphas soon. Alphas are so fascinating. The things that you can do with them. Okay, just blend these colors. Make sure you're not over blending or things are gonna look weird. Let's go back to the brows. See if I can make it look decent. What was my matte cap? This was my matte cap. Maybe I can change to a different lighting. I actually like the pink one. Alright, so I think what I'm gonna do is gonna select this color. I'm gonna use no alpha, and maybe I'm gonna use a different fall off. Let's see what this does. I'm gonna need more intensity. This might do, maybe not. We will see. And I'm gonna try to start painting individually some hair strands. I'm not pressing my pen a lot because I want very subtle paint, and I'm gonna build up little by little. I might even lower the intensity even more. Ideally, you wouldn't work this with symmetry because it looks weird if eyebrows are perfectly symmetrical, but just for sake of speed, I'm gonna do here. Blender is a Dutch software, so it makes no sense. No explanation for short keys. They don't properly work. Ah, yeah, gosh.
Dutch, just like Alex.
Just like Alex, yeah.
Not our flatmate.
No.
My Alex.
You're Alex. A really cool dude Michael grew up with.
Aluthia.
A luthier, yeah. Yeah, Michael is also a luthier.
He's better than me.
It doesn't mean that you are not. Michael, when he was in Australia, he worked in...
Don't say the name of the company.
I'm not gonna say the name of the company. Thank you for stopping me. He worked making guitars.
Yeah.
Hand making guitars. Yay! So it's quite impressive. I had a tour in the factory and it was very interesting. All the machine stuff, all the specialized wood, and I don't even know how to describe it. It was quite cool. Guitars. Autosave. No, please don't crash. Panic. No, it didn't crash. Thank God. I mentioned 3D code a few minutes ago. Does it compare to Substance Painter?
Do you want me to just say that out loud?
Sure.
Probably easier than typing out a million.
Yep. Yeah, do so.
3D code's a lot like Photoshop is probably the best comparison, whereas something like Substance is a lot like, well, more procedural. So if you prefer hand painting, 3D code's a lot better. It does have some procedural stuff that you can use, like materials and things like that. But generally, Substance is better in that regard. But like you were saying with Adobe, I'm trying to use less Adobe products and have less millions of subscriptions. But 3D Code, I think they're meant to have an update. I haven't looked in a month or two, but they were meant to have an update at the end of last year that was going to make it a lot more closer to what Substance is with regards to proceduralism. So I haven't looked if that update's been released. When I last looked, it was meant to have already been released and they had no information. So that could be a pandemic-based issue though. So
yeah.
Hopefully they add the proceduralism in because I prefer it, because you can just buy the software instead of paying a subscription and you own it. So,
yeah.
No endorsement, though they don't pay me to say that, but it's just my preference. It has been, and I do like the UV tools as well. The UV tools are really, really good.
Yeah.
For someone that hates doing UVs.
Oh, the UVs. Yeah. No UVs in Nomad. Just vertex paint. Yeah. What he just said. Well, going back to what I'm working on is just building up the strokes for the eyebrows. If I really want to go detail, I'm gonna need more resolution on my mesh. I don't think I want to do this. I'm not sure if this is gonna outperform my iPad. I can see on the top left that I still have free memory, so it might work, but yeah, I'm just afraid of risking crashing.
Have you done a manual save?
Yeah.
Okay. Your computer sounds like it's about to take off.
Yeah, sorry about my computer. It's an old MacBook, like 2014. So it does suffer. And with the OBS and with the streaming, it's like... but yeah, I'm just gonna keep layering this, try to get naturally the density. And you can even use tools like Crease if you wanted to paint and sculpt. You have to enable the paint. I mean, it's difficult to appreciate what you're sculpting because the paint sort of masks it, but then you have the hair colored and actually with the correct bump. I'm gonna use a different crease. I'm gonna use one that's slightly modified that I use for hair. It's mostly just the fall of what's different. And I just paint some individualness. Yeah, the mesh needs more resolution. This has been quite limited by that. And with this here, you gotta make sure you know the direction. Like it's not random. It's not all pointing at the same place. If you know the origin and where it goes to, the result is gonna be much better. Needs way more building. It's still very timid, this eyebrows, but yeah, I just want to move on to more places of the paint so it's a bit more interesting. And yeah, make sure you have some like rogue eyes, like rogue hair, sorry, unless your eyebrows are perfectly shaped, which is not me. I'm too lazy for that. You would naturally have some individual hairs fading away. Please don't judge me because I'm lazy with my eyebrows. I mean, they're mostly hidden by my glasses and my fringe, so that's like the thing. Whenever I do it, it's like, what's the point if you cannot even see them? And also my husband is like me.
What?
About shaved eyebrows or plucked eyebrows.
Oh.
Oh.
You're saying that I don't shave my eyebrows?
No, I'm talking about mine.
How dare you?
How dare I? Yeah. So I think I'm gonna wrap up soon, as we've been going for an hour and a half, almost, and just trying to figure out what needs to be. Do you think you could take a quick look and tell me what you think? What should I work on? Could show you the reference. It's good to take a little break to get a fresher mind, have someone else look at it. Orange?
The first thing I looked at was the lips. I don't know if it's just the closeness, because you've gone quite light toward the edges.
You're right, I haven't finished working that.
So yeah, I just make, because especially when you're zoomed out, you lose that edge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Geez, that does look a lot like you now though. You're a bit whiter in this, but it's not lit, so it's sort of hard to tell exactly.
Well, if I put the... that might be too white.
Yeah. But, you know, you can use a multiplier in when it's at render, so...
I guess so, yeah, that's easy-ish to
and
fix.
subsurface scattering word saturation as well.
Yeah. No, I'm whitewashing myself.
What else?
I can turn off this outline, maybe?
That helps. Yeah, I think it's just mainly the brownness. Your ears, see how much more saturated your ears are?
Yeah, I haven't painted the subsurface itself.
Okay, yeah, so that would probably happen at render. I think that looks pretty good.
Alright, so I'm just gonna work on those last details that Michael told me. Finish the lips, which I haven't properly done. Make sure you go to the correct layer. I'm gonna take this color, probably will need to go more intensity now. Still a tiny bit of transparency. You want colors to naturally mix. That's just like the key with colors, to let them mix, to think how light works. Light is not just intense color that covers everything and that's it. Light has fall off, light has transparency, and colors just mix together. Are there any YouTube and Spanish videos that you suggest to help with facial sculpting? The big issue is to pause and resume because days can get wild at moment's notice. In Spanish, there is a really cool artist named Lim Cook. I'm not sure if he has videos, but he might. He's Mexican, so he might have stuff in Spanish. Trying to think if there is someone else that could. Oh gosh, I can't think of anyone right now.
Sculptors?
Yeah.
The problem is I can't think of anyone that does tutorials in Spanish. I know people that are from Mexico or Spanish-speaking countries.
Oh, there we go. Marisi has a...
Libel Studios. Oh, that sounds familiar.
Sorry. Where I'm teaching, I know that they have courses on 3D sculpting in ZBrush, but I don't remember the name of the professors, and well, you'll have to pay for the courses. I don't think that they have free content.
Who's that?
Escena, sorry. Escuela Escena. Do you need me to type that?
Is it E?
E?
SCENA?
Yeah. Okay, just try. I'm working just on the this lip on this. Ah, don't crash. There we go. Just on this edge, and the lips looks weird if the edge is not correct. Like it's defined, but it's got a little bit of softness, and yeah, if you don't define it correct, it looks like you put on makeup badly. Oh, I think that kind of looks okay. It's getting there. Maybe this is more subtle around here. The bottom still needs some work. Whoa! Getting there. Make sure I get the correct shape of the lip. Yeah, that seems mostly okay. And subsurface areas. I think I'm gonna stay on the same layer. Just checking what I have. Yeah, like some details. So I'm just gonna call this layer details. Deep. Okay, and now it's time where I can choose the more saturated reddish tones. These are gonna change. If you have white skin like Michael, they're gonna look more pink, more like this. For me, they look a bit more orangey. Yeah, so you gotta look for the specific sample. It's warm, it's saturated, but the hue, this might change a little bit depending on the type of skin that you're dealing with.
I think we might need to increase the buffer, the bit rate.
Oh man.
Next time, because it's buffering quite a lot. Sorry about that, anyone that's watching.
Yeah, sorry.
That's just unfortunately a hardware limitation for what we have, because the iPad doesn't plug into PC. Érika can't use this computer that I'm on.
Yeah, I mean apparently there's ways to, but we haven't found one that we trust.
Yeah.
Like it's all sort of weird apps, and yeah, we just feel concerned about getting some malware or.
Exactly.
Yeah, just being careful.
Especially on work computers.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the ear is a very thin tissue, it's just cartilage and skin pretty much. I think there's a tiny bit of fat pad in the bottom and the lobe, but other than that, that's it. Gonna add a bit of this orangeness in the cheekbone. And smudge it nicely so it combines okay. I need some of that subsurface, some of that warmness on the nose, especially on the thinnest areas. On the wings is the thinnest bits. Oh gosh, English. I lost some of the darks underneath the nostrils. Yeah, just look around the reference where you might need it. And the top eyelids, I think I'll add a little bit of that. Areas of like bluish skin, like the underside of the jaw, like this could also, because there's like nothing in between the skin, like it's like just hanging, especially the more it hangs, that's when it gets more this effect. Yeah, just make it subtle, no need to exaggerate. And yeah, unfortunately I fell on the trap of whitewashing myself, which is silly, but on later stages of lighting and shading, Michael can work on these colors and just multiply them, which essentially means make them darker without losing all the things that I've done or without the need of repainting. And I might have to work on this bit on the hair, that's also looking weird. There's also some hair that I would have to paint here, so it's not fully finished, but yeah, I guess that it's getting there. Here of course is gonna bring some dark shade on the areas. I'm just gonna block it really fast, but yeah. I'll see Pierre's account. I'm not very familiar with it, but I heard that it's good.
What is it? I don't think I've heard of it.
See Pierre's. My understanding is something that's like sea cookie, I believe. I don't know if you know it. It's like.
Is it just a general like bit of everything sort of? Is it a bit like Digital Tunes used to be?
I think so.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. Well, I think I'm gonna leave it here before I mess it up. I don't know if you guys have any question before I officially end this. I'm just gonna make a quick recap to see if there's questions, because I know that there's like a 30-second delay in which I say things and you actually hear them. But yeah, I was using layers. I started remeshing this. It used to be a dynamic topology mesh, so it was all over the place, and for paint I want something more unified. I started with the base colors. These are the color stones of the face. These areas are affected by the areas where there's more muscle, where the skin is stretched and you have the bone right away. Then I'm painting the skin. This is more like an average color of the skin, but it's with transparency, so it's mixing with the bottom, so you start to get all this richness of colors that exist in the skin. The skin has all sorts of colors. You're all gonna see unexpected colors like purple, green, blue. Just gonna make them subtle. Then with this one I painted more deep areas. Actually, I think I'm gonna emphasize it. Nostrils, the inside of the ears, because they are not literal holes like in real life. They are meshes that are, they may go a bit deep, but they don't have all that darkness, I suppose. So I'm just emphasizing it. With lighting, some things are gonna get fixed, but yeah, just I guess helping a little bit. Then I have the details, which I am looking at the lips and I still don't fully love, but I'll have to work in it. Just fixing tones. Don't forget that I'm sometimes switching to the white matte cap to see the colors without any distortion, without any multiplication of light, which is what happens with other matte caps. I've been working with this, one of my painting matte caps. As you can see, it's a white sphere under like pink light. I have others. This one is under cool light, under blue light. This one has a specularity, has those shininess, and this one is also a warm orangey light. So those are quite useful. Those are the ones that we have available on our Gumroad. And there's also some that come in Nomad for free. And the very last layer was the eyebrows. I like to have things separate, and if I mess up I can erase it easily, I can redo it. And yeah, it's just a very good advantage being able to layer things. So yeah, I'm just checking if there's any question. I don't believe there's any, but I still you know that you can comment on YouTube, you can comment on this video if you're watching this on the recording, or yeah, we are around. We always try to get back to you in a timely manner. Sometimes I guess that it can get hard, but we're still in a point in which is manageable. So thank you so much guys for being here. Thank you for your trust. I guess that before I finish,